The family of a preschooler at a Catholic school has been informed the child will not be allowed to attend next year because the child's parents are lesbians. The Archdiocese says the women's sexual orientation is at odds with church doctrine, so their child is not eligible to attend the school. In the nation's capital, same-sex couples can legally get married starting on Tuesday, and the Catholic Church is fighting back. Rather than agree to provide health care benefits to same-sex couples who work for the Catholic charities, the nonprofit says it will not provide health insurance to any spouses, straight or gay. CNN's Kate Baldwin has our report.
Same-sex couples in Washington can legally marry in the district starting Tuesday.
We're very excited.
But even before the first couple walks down the aisle, there's controversial fallout from the city's decision. Catholic Charities, the social services arm of the Archdiocese of Washington, just announced it will no longer offer health benefits to spouses of any new employees or current employees who aren't already covered under its plan. As a result, the nonprofit is effectively avoiding having to give benefits to same-sex partners, keeping with the church's opposition to same-sex marriage.
How long have you and your partner been together?
We've been together for 10 years.
Chris Hinkle is gay and a practicing Catholic. He lives in Virginia and worships in Washington. Hinkle views the developments in D.C. as 2 steps forward and quickly 2 steps back for the gay and lesbian community and its strained relationship with the Catholic Church.
Why is it disappointing to you?
It's a slap in the face. Yeah, it's prejudice.
Catholic Charities declined to comment, but the Archdiocese of Washington made a point to say that less than 10% of Catholic Charities employees take part in its health insurance program, suggesting that a small portion of the staff will be affected by the change in policy.
And in a statement, the Archdiocese says this approach allows Catholic Charities to continue to provide services to the 68,000 people it now cares for in the city, to comply with the city's new requirements, and to remain faithful to our Catholic identity. A stance some Catholics say is damaging the church's public image.
They're getting a view of the church that isn't necessarily consistent with our values. We don't say that people who don't deserve health insurance because they happen to be in a certain kind of marriage or a certain kind of relationship. That's just not what we teach.
The very same message Chris Hinkle is trying to send as he fights for acceptance.
I want people to treat others with justice. That is a message that I think Jesus Christ himself had exemplified.
And in today's world, you think that applies to healthcare as well as the right to marry?
Absolutely it does. Absolutely.
Kate Baldwin, CNN, Washington.
Let's bring in now Father Thomas Reese. He has spoken out against a constitutional amendment banning same-sex marriages. He is a Jesuit priest and a senior fellow at Georgetown University Woodstock Theological Center, and he is joining us now from Washington. Thank you. Good to see you, Father. I have to ask you, what do you make of this by Catholic Charities?
Well, I mean, obviously Catholic Charities would like to have health care for all of its employees and their spouses, but they were caught. The City Council has told them that if they're going to have contracts to serve the poor in the District of Columbia, then they have to provide benefits to gay spouses if they provide benefits to heterosexual married spouses. So this is something that the City Council has done. It's changed the rules so that now the diocese simply is making this decision so that it can continue to serve the poor in the district.
So, are you saying that the church is being backed to the corner by the city?
Well, yeah. I mean, up until last year, there was no problem. Then the City Council changed the rules. And the Archbishop made it very clear that this was a matter of principle. You know, and when a religious leader says this is a matter of principle, you know, he's going to stick to his guns. And it's not a fight he wanted to be in, but it's a fight where the City Council threw the first blow, and the diocese had to respond and say, okay, we still want to help the poor, but we can't have benefits for gay spouses. It's interesting. They're not saying they're not going to hire gays. They're not saying they're going to fire anybody who gets married under this law. You know, they're not discriminating in terms of employment here.
But they are discriminating against a group of people, because this policy before that, you know, heterosexual couples could get spousal benefits, and now that the city is saying this, they're saying they won't do it for anyone. I mean, this is a reason for them to change their rules. You just can't say it's not discrimination, because they're discriminating against a certain group of people.
Well, that's not the way the Archbishop of Washington sees it. He sees this as a matter of principle, that the Catholic Church is teaching on gay marriage is contrary.
So people should suffer because of a principle? Because someone is saying, oh, it's a matter of principle? So someone who may have a spouse who needs health insurance, or
well, I mean,
maybe
you know,
ill, they should suffer because of that?
The people are suffering because the City Council refused to give an exemption here for the Archdiocese of Washington. You know, they could have even simply said, oh, you know, okay, let's exempt him for a couple of years, and then let's take this issue up again later when people have cooled off, when there's a time to, you know, let emotions get, you know, to get to a calmer level, and then maybe we can work something out, try and find some common ground. But the City Council wasn't interested in any compromise either on this.
Has this affected anything like adoption or any other services that Catholic Charities does?
Yes, Catholic Charities in Washington, D.C., like Catholic Charities in the state of Massachusetts, has had to go out of the adoption business. It's interesting. I mean, Catholic Charities have allowed gay people to adopt children for years. Mm-hmm. This has not been an issue. But it is an issue for the bishops when it is a gay married couple that is coming in to do the adoption. And so the church has had to get out of the adoption business in the District of Columbia and in the state of Massachusetts, and turned over the work to other agencies.
I have to, one viewer wrote to me, what about, you know, hate the sinner, or hate the sin, love the sinner?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, the Catholic Church teaches that all God's children are loved by Him, whether they're gay, whether they're heterosexual, or what. But the Catholic Church also teaches that sex outside of marriage is wrong.
Is wrong.
And whether it's gay couples or heterosexual couples.
I want to ask you about this, because just before we did this story, we reported on Boulder, Colorado, a preschooler that has two mothers, two lesbians, not being allowed to go to a school there. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, Catholic schools have been educating Catholics and non-Catholics, Protestants, Jews, Muslims, atheists. We educate children whose parents are saints and children whose parents are sinners. I don't see why this is a big deal. I think that, you know, the focus should be on educating children, and I think these kind of regulations are counterproductive.
Okay. Father, thank you. Father Thomas Reese, we really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Sure.
We're reporting on a tantalizing report out of Pakistan that a high-level American in al-Qaeda has been captured, but is it true? What we do know is straight ahead, and later we'll get a live report from the man's hometown in California to see what people there are saying.